want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Madmen of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good evening, Madman Mafia.
Hey, I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Madmen of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Hey, you know why I'm looking down?
Because you don't like make eye contact. You got you're on
too.
spectrum.
I'm a little bit socially awkward.
A little bit.
But on top of that, man, I'm hitting share,
we have
man.
Guests,
I'm
so
hitting
don't be
share. I'm sharing because sharing is caring, man.
We do like that you like to share.
I like to share, man. I like to share with all my good stuff, man. And we got a good one today, man.
We do. Yeah, if you notice, we usually will wait till the end, but we're going remote today, and we actually brought them on immediately, so you knew we're not alone, so you watch them out.
Yeah, we're not alone. There are people that will like come into digital spaces with us.
Yeah, they like us. They want to come talk to us, at least until they've talked to us, and then sometimes it goes iffy.
Yeah, sure enough. Man, we're in some circles where we meet some pretty awesome people, some pretty amazing people, especially people with great stories and just great people, period. Like, you can have a great story but be a jerk. You can have a great story.
Say no names.
No, we ain't gonna say no names. But they know who they are. You can have a great story and just be a schmuck or a chump or whatever other word I can say on FCC airways and not get fined. But you can be amazing people and have amazing stories. And I love, I especially love it when it's couples that are just cool and amazing people. And so of course, we know this couple through the our connections and associations with the Gary Barnes universe. It's kind of like the Marvel, the MCU. It's the GBU. But yeah, these are just some fantastic people. So without further ado, we'll introduce the world that doesn't know them. If you don't know them, you should, and you're about to. Mr. and Mrs. Jeff and Catherine Pearson. How are you doing?
Groovy. How are you?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be you.
Nice. Good answer.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, you all are like you are legit like TV hosts. What's up with that, man?
Yeah, we are. Or I am. She's been on a little bit. Been on a little bit. I've been on more. So yeah, man, we launched a TV show about a year and a half ago, April of 2023. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're full on, man. It's called Invisible Condition. And it's pretty cool. I know, mystery, right?
It's not like sci-fi, like something I want to watch.
I know. Don't worry, it's not like invisibility cloaks and all that kind of stuff. So Invisible Condition is because I was born with a medical condition that you would never know I had by looking at me.
Wow.
But I'm 15 surgeries in, 7 brain surgeries so far. First one was at 2 weeks old. Last one was about 3 years ago. It's been a ride. But you would never look at me walking down the street and go, obviously I know what he has, because it just never shows on the outside. So
I mean, for me, we might look at you and go, well, there's something up with him. Well, I don't know what it is.
That's a different show for a different day.
Yeah.
But
no doubt. So dude, I mean, man, we can't be like one of those cheap Netflix miniseries where they leave you in a cliffhanger at the end. We can't be one of those. So since you jump right into the deep end, man, I mean, what's the deal with that? What is this thing?
Why not? May as well just rip the Band-Aid off. So I was born with a condition called hydrocephalus, which is a condition. So for me, at my 2-week checkup, I was born with it. And then at 2 weeks old, go in for your 2-week checkup, and they do all the same measurements they do at birth. And one of them is a head measurement around here. And they did that and said, that's just a little bigger than we like. So let's check it out, do a CAT scan. And they found out that one of the ventricles in my brain, everybody's got ventricles in the brain to drain off that fluid that your brain's always producing, because it's got to go somewhere. And normally it'll go down the spinal column, reabsorb into the system. Everything's cool. For me, one of those ventricles was blocked. And so it didn't have anywhere to go. And so at 2 weeks old, I went under the knife for my first brain surgery, and they drilled a little hole in my skull back here, and threaded a little tube in there to suck that fluid out, and attached a shunt to that, and attached a tube to that to kind of reroute it somewhere else in the body to reabsorb, kind of like an artificial ventricle. And so I've had that, had a shunt in one form or fashion right here behind my right ear under the skin, for the last 47 years. And the reason I've had 7 is because these shunts, despite all the advances and all the efforts of all the technological whatever, the shunts that they use for these things still have the highest failure rate in medicine. So highest failure rate of any medical device. So on average, people with hydrocephalus are getting these things replaced. And keep in mind, when I say getting it replaced, I'm saying they're having brain surgery every 2 to 3 years. Wow. So I'm 47 years old. I've had 7. I'm way ahead of the curve. I should have had 15, 20 by now, by the averages. So I count myself very fortunate. So,
well, your mama told you stop putting your finger in there, and then see what happens.
I mean,
no, Jason, I'm pretty sure that was just you.
To be fair,
I'm pretty sure everybody doesn't hear that when they're growing up. I'm pretty sure that was just you.
Jason, I did go chasing after a penny that was in a light socket when I was a kid with 2 forks. So I really did. I really wanted that penny, and I just know there was blue sparks involved, and I don't remember the whole incident. But yeah, so everybody does it.
It was very tingly. Yeah, it was very tingly. There were sparks and
you wake up and go,
whoa, I remember that.
What's that?
So I mean, what are the impacts of this condition on your life?
Oh, well, for the first 36 years on the planet, not much. It was pretty cool. I mean, I knew that I had something, I knew I had this device, but really, my parents really didn't ever make a big deal about it. I mean, they would point me in directions like, oh, Dad, I want to go play football. Well, maybe not football. You've got a thing in your head, but let's try band, or I want to play soccer, or, no, let's not do soccer. Let's do choir, or so they were very encouraging. They were just directionally encouraging, which honestly, if I hadn't done band, if I hadn't listened to them and gone into band in 7th grade, I wouldn't have met her. Because we met in 7th grade band class. So
wow.
Anyway, so that was a very non-issue for a long time. And then, graduated high school, and I mean, I had 3 brain surgeries throughout my childhood, 2 weeks old, 6 months old, 18 years old. And then I didn't have anything for about 18 years. And in the midst, we got married in 1999, had 3 kids. And then in August of 2013, here come the surgeries. So it was kind of like, so it really hasn't been until the last 10 or 11 years that it's had any issue that affects much. So
wow, it sounds like you had a really good run. I mean, from your description of other people with this condition having to have it done quite a bit.
Oh man. Yeah.
I mean, and of course, we can't even gloss over the fact that you guys met in 7th grade band and you're still together. I mean, that's a fairy tale and a half. That's a whole nother episode we got to talk about. Like, we need to have you on for the relationship episodes.
25th anniversary was in this last June. So yeah, we're I mean,
yeah. And I mean, that's really the crux of ultimately where we want to get to here today from a couple's perspective. And obviously, no one, I mean, we know you, but other people might not. So just trying to set the foundations here. But man, that's I mean, that's those are challenges that most people don't have. I would say a large majority of the population has not had to deal with that personally, let alone relationally. And so man to man kind of thing. How do you not let that define you as a man, your condition?
I had that lesson taught to me very early in our marriage. It'll come around here, but not being defined by a certain thing. I'm defined as a child of God. We're Jesus followers. We're Christians, and so that's how I define myself. We're humans. We're Christians. But besides that, I mean, I'm not defined by my condition any more than a man is defined by what they do for a living. I mean, early on in our marriage, I've done everything. I mean, I had 13 W-2s one year. I did a lot. I have done a lot of stuff. I've done just about everything except twirl one of those signs outside of business, And so I learned very early not to attach myself as a man to what I did. And so I don't usually, I mean, everybody asks, who are you and what do you do? But what do you do is, I mean, I guess that's the second question for a reason, right? So, yeah. So it's never really been part of the identity, I guess.
That's really good, cool, because I mean, you didn't make it to the Men's Summit, but I mean, a lot of what we talked about, I know in my talk was talking about who do you think you are, and I think so much of who we think we are defines how we show up in the world and how we even define our own selves. Like so many men out there now are essential workers, or they're doing good things in the world, they're making a paycheck, take care of their family. But because they're not a rock star, or they're not a movie star or whatever, they define themselves as less than. So I love the fact that someone who has every reason, who has every, get out of jail free card as far as like define themselves as less than, you're like, man, I don't define myself that way. I mean, was that something that just kind of came from experience, or did you have like a kind of come to Jesus moment? Like, I'm just not going to do that.
I think honestly, it was my parents. They never said to me once, I don't remember ever hearing the words out of their mouth like, no, you can't do that because you have this condition, or no, you can't, no, you shouldn't do that because you have this thing in your head that could, it was like, go knock yourself out, I mean, not literally, we don't want to do that. But, I mean, I'm a snowboarder. I started snowboarding when I was like a teenager, without a helmet for the first 25 years. So that they let that one slip through the cracks. But for the most part, they wanted me to be safe, but really they just kind of let me do my thing, and it was like, don't focus on the fact that you've got a condition. That's not you. So that's all.
I mean, living with something, that living with something versus defining yourself by something is two totally different things. You just do what just becomes like taking out the trash. I got to do this thing. I got to deal with this thing. And as we kind of roll into this first break, we will, for you ladies going, why isn't Catherine talking?
I was going to say,
she is. She's the star of the show, really. She's the one. She's the one we really wanted to talk to. We just had Jeff come along just because.
We'll shift from Jeff to Catherine, and Jeff, you'll get to be eye candy after the fact.
I don't think I've ever been called that. Okay. Sure.
Well, I mean, the candy comes in all sorts of flavors, so some are fuzzy, some are more fuzzy than others, but I tend to go for the less fuzzy, but that's all right. Everybody has their taste, everybody has their flavor.
No. All right. And so we'll dig into some of that here when we get back from this break. And so we'll be right back. Madmen of Masculinity on KLDC. Boom. Good stuff. Good.
Yeah, Catherine, we're gonna make you talk because
I was gonna say I felt bad. I was like, we gotta come on.
No, that was just the setup.
Okay,
we set you up, Jeff, because she's going to talk the rest of the segment. You're just
cool. All right, I'll just lay back. It's cool.
We're going to ask her for the truth about you.
All right. Hey, man. Let's see.
Well,
easy.
Madmen of Masculinity, right? I
mean, she's got 30. She got 35 years of stories, man. We got some.
Well, Catherine, so you don't feel like you're like on your own here? Majority of our natural audience is women 35 to 55, about 60 to 40%. So
nice.
Yeah, you're not on your own. We get more ladies organically than pretty much most of the guys that twist their arm like, hey, watch our show. But that's just guys. Speaking of guys, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and make some comments. I'm tired of y'all sitting here and telling us in person, like, oh, that was a great episode. Put it in the comments. It helps the algorithms. Thank you very much.
It does.
Just saying.
And now with that service announcement,
that was
come on back.
Here we go. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Madmen of Masculinity, KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City.
Yes,
and on the internet, on the interwebs, everywhere. MadmenRadio.com and YouTube, Facebook, holler at your boys everywhere. We get into some deep stuff. We get into some serious stuff. Sometimes we sit around and, pick our nose and give each other wedgies. That's just what we do because that's just how we roll. It just is what it is, man. Don't act like you ain't like that wedgie that time I gave it to you, man. You act like that now. You weren't acting like that when you got
you a
that
line
wedgie.
stepper, man. There's certain things we're not supposed to be sharing. You just a line stepper. You know, there's certain things you leave on a golf course, but no, you guys got to bring it up for everybody.
Jason just had a birthday. Just had a birthday, Jeff and Catherine. So you all have been married for half of his life, probably more, a little bit more than half of his life.
A little more,
literally a little bit more than half of his life. How does that feel?
I mean, I don't know. He's
So we better ask Catherine because Jeff's been saying. So we better ask her.
But before we get to that 7th grade band, I want to know who played what instruments.
Okay, so if you think about how a band is set up, right? It's kind of in a circle, conductor's in the middle. And so I played the flute on one side. And
I knew you were a flute player.
And Jeff played the clarinet on the other side. So we were kind of facing each other across. And then, you know, there was the conductor in the middle. So looked at that guy.
I had to stare at him every once in a while. I mean, but it took me almost the whole 7th grade year to get the nerve up to go talk to her anyway. So but I did get to stare at her during class. It was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, it was 7th grade. It's not, I mean, it's not like that just comes
I know. No, 7th grade, we're a mess in 7th. Everybody's a mess in 7th grade. Come on.
Yeah, middle school's the worst.
Middle school's the worst.
Well, you know how it is for most women, they hit puberty and then they become women. For most men, they hit puberty and then it's kind of a question mark, you know, from puberty till question mark before we turn into something.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, exactly.
So Jeff, you were a woodwind player. I played saxophone back then. So
I did the clarinet and bass
saxophonists
clarinet.
were close to the you know, you guys were close to the saxophonists.
Yeah, I was a trumpet player, so of course we were all way in the back. They're like, you can get back there.
Yeah,
those
exactly.
Brass players, man.
Yeah,
I know. You know, Kirk, that actually reminds me of a joke that our band director had.
Don't tell me you were at band camp. Don't do that.
Well,
Don't do that, man.
You don't know what you did with your flute.
No, we don't go there. Nope. No, you know what the difference between a trampoline and a saxophone is, right?
What's that?
I mean, you can take your shoes off, jump on trampoline.
That's fair.
That was his joke, not mine.
That's fair.
Just saying.
That's fair. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. So you met in 7th grade, man. That was like decades upon decades ago. First of all, Catherine,
thank you for the reminder. Yeah.
No, that was a long time ago. I just want to remind you because that's the setup to my next comment. Because Catherine, you still look like you could be in 7th grade. And I know you get that like all the time, but the fact that you know that that you all met back then, and I would imagine, you know, in a way maybe it was easier to meet young because you kind of, you know, you go through that whole, you know, the friendship and you kind of grow up together in a way, right? I mean, you kind of grow up, you know, sharing a lot of your stories are similar because they were kind of in the same place at the same time and the same stages. And so, you know, speaking, I mean, not that you're speaking for every woman, but from a woman that has the experience of meeting her long-term husband in the 7th grade, do you think that there was some level of benefit to growing up and having an experience with a guy that you've known so long, or is it a downside that's like, man, I've known you forever, dude? You like, you know, some old milk or something like that. I mean, is it a benefit or a hindrance?
I would say benefit, but because it's worked for me. No, yeah, there's been a lot of great, you know, as much as I know what he's been through and all of his stuff, he knows stuff about me and he's stayed with me as well. You know, so I think it really goes both ways that, you know, you've seen each other through, you know, some of those awkward growing up times, and you know, you've come out on the other side of it as, you know, young adults, and you go, yeah, I still want to hang out with you. And so, right, so I would say it's been a benefit, you know, to really know the other piece of it too is that I do know his background, and so I do know, you know, I know some of the other girls that he's dated, and I know, but I also know like his, you know, his family background and his, all of those things that really help to shape, us adults into who we are. I've seen that background, and I could say, you know what, that's some quality right there. I want to stick close to that. So yeah, there's definite benefits, I would say.
Well, it sounds like I've heard a couple different, and because you guys have known each other so long, that you could probably be the best experts on these topics. But I've heard love and relationships kind of defined in a couple ways. Like one is as you go through things together, you almost get to the point like, well, we made it through that together. What else can we get through? And it's like if you build up that muscle. But then I also heard it as, and you kind of alluded to it, when you know somebody's dark side and their darkness and all their dirty little secrets, and you still love them, then it's like freeing. Like, no, we get to be ourselves now. I can break wind in front of you, and I can do all that stuff because you know all my dirty little secrets. So I just get to be a person. Is that
Right.
kind of like how it is for you guys?
Yeah, there's definite, I mean, it also comes with time, right? We've been married for 25 years, so and known each other for 35, is that? I think 35 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there absolutely is a comfortability level, to say, yeah, he's seen me go through crazy stuff, he's seen me go through uh what for me was crazy was pregnancy, labor and delivery. That's bit of a wild ride, but but he's held my hand and walked through all of it with me to the other side. So yeah, there's definitely, it's like, well, there's if you've seen all that, there's not much more that's crazier. So
Right.
there's a definite relaxed, be myself. He can be himself, I can be myself.
Totally.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess when you spend that much time together and you support him through surgeries, brain surgery, he supports you through giving birth to three children and having all those experiences together. I could assume that creates a bond that just nobody else can touch because you're like, why would I want somebody else? This guy's seen everything, and she has too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I understand. Obviously, this isn't my experience, but I understand that sometimes chronic conditions can actually create a wedge and divide couples. But when we first got married, I made one decision, that I was going to stick with him for better or for worse, for sickness and health. And so that's been the only decision that I needed to make. And so all of that, all of the stuff since then has just been, well, how do we go through this? How do we make the best of it? How do we, come out stronger on the other side? And, really let that one decision 25 years ago to say I'm committed, really carry forward and just
All right, I have a new
keep
career
going.
path for you. You're now going to teach the university of how to make a decision and stick with it. Because
Yeah.
out in the world today, all we see is, oh, well, I decided to be with you. Oh, I got the ick. It's no fun anymore. Bye bye. And I'm taking
Right.
half your stuff.
Yeah, you
Right.
all are definitely the exception and not the rule these days. First of all, you are in what is really our generation, but you've been married for so long, and there's not too many of us out here that are our age with with that story. But then in addition to that, to have the mentality, or to just have the perspective of, what, we made a choice, way back then, and we're sticking with that choice throughout. I said this a week or two ago that a whole lot of people, I think, a whole lot of people, they want a wedding but don't necessarily want to be married, these days, or
Right.
they want they want the fire but they don't want the smoke. And when it comes down to it from a relationship perspective, and again, we could find a handful of people who are in their 50s or 60s or whatever who can say they've been together for a quarter of a century, but not too
Yeah.
many people our age. And so for you all to have to kind of go against the grain and to be like, no, we've had some challenges, but at the same time, our longevity and our commitment to each other overrides these challenges. And I think that's the exception and not the rule. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
That's
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll preach it. Let's
right. I mean, we've got
it more the rule.
You've got great examples. I've got great examples. I mean, my parents just celebrated 55 years. Your parents just celebrated 50 not that long ago. My mom's parents were married 69 years before my grandpa passed away. My dad's parents were married over 50 years when they passed away. I mean, it totally, when I heard the statistic that between 70 and 80% of couples that have a child with some sort of chronic condition have like a 70 to 80% divorce rate, blew my mind. It didn't even register because that's never been my experience. And so on both sides of it, I mean, her family, my family, it's just not a, so it's really weird to think about it like that, but it's true.
We're getting close to a break here, but now I'm wondering, is it generational? Like, is this something that, there was a cultural domino that began to fall or started falling, a couple of decades ago. And now so many, now the divorce rate is what it is. But in your case, it's kind of the opposite. Like those dominoes didn't fall a couple of generations ago. And so now for you, it's normal.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We have amazing examples and we're very blessed by that.
Yeah. For sure.
Yep. Well, it makes so much sense because I mean, honestly, that was my examples with my parents getting divorced or remarried and everything. I remember being like 13 years old and having a conversation with myself, like, well, they got married in their early 20s, had me at 23, got divorced, got remarried in their mid 30s. Maybe I'll just skip that first part and wait till I'm like mid 30s and growed up a little bit. And then, of course, I got there and was like, oh, nope, I need more time. But
yeah,
to that example point, I mean, we always go over the nature versus nurture, but I mean, when you have the examples and that's your norm, then of course you're like, well, yeah, we're going to stay together because that's what's been modeled to me.
Right.
Yep.
True.
Definitely.
Like I said, I just, I don't know, paradigm wise, I saw just the shift there and just the whole idea of, man, maybe a lot of what we do not only sets up our norm, but also sets up maybe kids' norms and maybe just cultural norms in our community, family, friends, and all those other kind of things. I mean, if dysfunction is the norm for some people, then they're more likely to fall into dysfunction as opposed to what stability is, being the norm, connection being the norm, commitment being the norm. It's like, man, maybe that's a better way to look at it. And I tell you what is another better way to look at something.
About time to take that break.
We're gonna have to take us a break here, man. But
when we come back, let's get into that because I mean, it even talks about to what he was talking about before about not identifying yourself with certain things. Like, what do we consider normal? Because that's our upbringing that we should probably start questioning.
Yeah.
Boom. And on that note, we'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity, right here on KLDC.
Boom. Man, that just, man, yeah, I'm realizing, like, golly,
yeah,
how much,
and it's not even like you guys you had the example, which I guess helped, but then of course you had these challenges that most other people don't have, and you still were like, no, we're in it to win it,
right? I mean, yeah.
Well, and Kirk, you heard it at the Gary Barnes. It's like. And Jason, I'm not sure if you were there. Sorry.
He was just in the back.
He was there.
Okay.
He was there.
See, he's a player in the back.
Right. But when when Gary was talking about, what's ordinary to you is extraordinary to other people. That's when it really dawned on me. I was like, oh my gosh, it really is ordinary for me to say I'm, committed no matter what, no matter what the health challenge and etc. But I guess for other people it's extraordinary. So let's talk about it. Let's
that's
the extraordinary part.
Talk about it.
Let's make it more ordinary.
Here we go. We're back.
Yes, we're
Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC, and on the interwebs everywhere. If y'all don't check us out if you listen to this over the air or on podcasts, if you don't check out the YouTube video, we have some amazing conversations when we go on break here. And you need to hear some of this stuff, man, because I mean it happens over and over again, man. We have some great talks. And so we just brought up a minute ago, Catherine, you were talking about something that was aha, ironically, at this business boot camp we were at, and it just in terms of perspective. So unpack that again real quick on the air.
Yeah. So what the speaker was talking about was the fact that what what I consider to be ordinary can be really extraordinary for other people. And when he started talking about that, that's when I really realized that for me to look at, I stay with, Jeff, no matter what the challenge, no matter what the health issue, no matter what the circumstance, I am committed to staying there. And that's ordinary for me. Because, and, it might be partly because of our examples. It might just partly be because of our commitment. But for other people, that might be extraordinary. And I would really love to see it become more ordinary, that people, stick with that commitment, stick with, what you say you're going to do. Let's follow through and do it. If it's marriage, if it's, any sort of commitment, let's stick with it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's why I already hired you to start teaching the class, because I mean, look at the examples
apparently
out in the world, because I mean, I have literally seen videos of women on social media dating while they're pregnant and their partners in the hospital dying of COVID or something. I mean, they're literally like have no experience or even capacity for sticking with something and making a decision and being resilient and saying, no, this is my foundation, this is my bottom line. And we see it over and over again. As soon as something, they get the ick, they're not feeling pretty, whatever their little thing is. I mean, he's helped you through 3 pregnancies and kids and all that stuff, and you've helped him through all the surgeries and everything else, and you guys are still happy and together. And it's like that commitment is extra extraordinary nowadays, because some people are just like, meh, calling it quits.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Catherine, when you talk about, and we told you were going to be the star of the show here, so we just let you warm up on the first segment. We just let you kind of sit there and chill and get your engine ready, because this is fascinating to us as guys, us as men, and this is an opportunity for men to learn and men to hear these kinds of things, because a lot of us don't hear these things and haven't heard these things, especially from a woman. And so, when you say that you are committed to him and you made a decision, you made a choice, and you're with Jeff, is that because, I mean, it's a rhetorical question. It's totally a setup so that you can answer and you can kind of speak some truth. But are you committed to him because his condition has become your identity as a couple, or because you feel sorry for him, or because he's your husband, he's your man, and he's your, all these kinds of things? I mean, why, in a world where commitment is foreign, why do you swim upstream in that?
Fair question. And I think it really is, like you alluded to it, like he's my man. When, I think back to, when we were younger, when we were, maybe there's that benefit to, to meeting younger. But, I married, this strong, handsome, very capable. He makes me laugh, he's funny, and I love being with him. And so, and so when times are hard, when I see that, when he's laying on the couch with a migraine, when he is struggling to function in day to day because of the brain fatigue and the brain fog, I remember back to when I first met him and fell in love with him, that he was this strong, capable young man. And the other piece of I'm just gonna go down a little bit of a rabbit trail. That when he struggles with his health, I don't think, I don't want to be around this, I'm gonna leave. I think to myself, what resources out there can help him to get back to that strong, capable, young man that I married, and so my brain shifts into, like, are there, how, like I said, a rabbit trail.
Mhm.
But like, are there other alternative medical practices that we could, encounter that he could go through to really bring him back to health? Rather than, like I said, rather than leave and run away, how can we, problem solve this and get back to, strong, healthy, fun relationship? So,
It sounds almost like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds almost like you're defining the difference between partnership and companionship versus what do I get? Because what do we see so much is, especially with the younger ladies, it's you as a man have to fit all these criteria.
mm,
And if you don't, or if you fall off, then I'm out because I don't want to do any work. And what I'm hearing is that you are definitely the partners. He takes up the slack when you need it. You take up slack when he needs it, and then you're in it instead of being competitors. I see a lot. I've had those relationships in the past where there was like this competition, like you're trying to do something and they feel less than. So it seems like with you guys, it's just let's bring each other up no matter what it is. I mean, speak to that and maybe give some tips of like what you've learned through the process. Cause I think so many people didn't have that example growing up. They don't even know what it looks like. So like, what are some of the things you could impart to the people listening that as a couple
So
going through these challenges?
So remember that question. I just want to throw this out real quick because of what she was saying earlier. So I'll let you take that one. But
okay.
just to give you an idea of just the last 11 years since 2013, there's been 4 brain surgeries and 2 other surgeries. Abdominal surgery, emergency abdominal surgery that almost killed me in August of 13. 2 back-to-back brain surgeries in 2014, like within 24 hours, 3 weeks in the hospital, found a bacterial infection, had to operate before it got to the brain, all that kind of stuff. Followed by a solid year of nonstop migraines that we were able to finally figure out how to get rid of through some natural remedies and natural things that we found. But and then another one in 2018, another brain surgery. That one was largely uneventful. And then in 2021, another brain surgery, which left me with all kinds of crazy stuff that we're finally working out, finally getting on the other side of. And then 2022, gallbladder surgery that was very much complicated by all the other scar tissue from all the other surgeries. So not to mention the financial aspect of it, but just the emotional aspect of it, of holy crap, he's like, especially those first couple of them, man, you didn't know what to do. So it'll, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. I'm sorry for the cliche, but it's true. Those first couple probably could have killed me if we had waited a little longer to do them. So commitment is huge. So, I mean, one of those would have made somebody turn tail and run in some situations. So, yes, commitment is a beautiful thing. So
yeah, most people couldn't handle one of those, to your point. And nowadays, people, as soon as somebody gets the sniffles, they're like, "I'm out of here." They're not even getting the tissue. So, Catherine, please, teach us and give us some tips about when it gets hard or when it looks different than what you maybe have imagined in your head. How do you, make that? Because it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you have figured out a way to turn all that into a benefit and a positive. Like, oh, he's sick, he's going this, but this is a positive thing because now I get support. Or is it something like that? Or
I mean, like, I liked the word that you said, partnership. I think that's really excellent because it's really, if a person's in a marriage purely based on what they get out of it, I'm going to be straight up. That is a very selfish way to go. It just is. And if you're operating out of selfishness, it is not going to last long. It just won't. And so, I'm going to bring a little bit of faith in here, because our faith, like Jeff mentioned, we're Jesus Christ followers. And a lot of our faith talks about really getting rid of selfishness. And so I'll be vulnerable here and tell you that there have been a lot of times where I have felt selfish in the moment. And I just have. But what I have come to do is I will say a quick prayer, and I'll say, Jesus, I am feeling really selfish right now, and I don't want to go and do what I've just been asked to do. I don't want to care for my husband. I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to. And it's not just Jeff, I don't want to listen to my kids, at times. But Jesus, I'm feeling selfish, and I know that's not what you want for me. Can you please take away this selfishness and help me to find, the joy and the gratitude in this moment, to best serve, my husband and my kids and whoever. And every time Jesus is faithful to do that for me. And so it really helps to remove that selfish feeling and to say, okay, where can I be thankful in this moment? Where can I find the joy? And move forward with my commitment and my service and my care, all of those partnership things that you were alluding to.
All right, Kirk, I know you're chomping at the bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and polish off the pulpit and let you go ahead and talk about service and relationships.
Uh-oh.
2 minutes go.
No, I first of all, Catherine, thank you for your vulnerability. I mean, I too, this isn't the first time I've said this on air. I absolutely recognize that, through marriage, and I'm not even a year into my current marriage, but I realized how selfish I can be, in the moment. And it's like in those opportunities, it is an opportunity to serve, as opposed to, just gripe and all those other kind of things. It is an opportunity to, to wash feet if necessary. It is an opportunity to just serve. It is a ministry, it is, it is an opportunity to just do that. And so to catch yourself in that moment and to kind of hit the reset button. I mean, like I said, thank you for that, because that's in relationship. And I'm very passionate about the whole idea of in relationship. It's, man, you got to come into it with a heart of service. You got to come, because otherwise,
and sacrifice.
And
sometimes there has to be some sacrificial love, care.
Yeah.
You can't always do what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to do this, but we got to do this. We got to go to a break. It's our last break, which unfortunately means our last segment. But we'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC. Boom. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Sorry, did I go too deep there?
No. That was phenomenal. We love that. I mean, that is exactly it. That's the whole point.
Kirk and I talk so much about service and being of a service mindset. And I know he loves to jump on that one and like preach on that one. So I was like setting him up, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go today." So, but yeah, maybe that should be the kind of the topic of the fourth quarter is like, true relationship and true partnership is about service, because so many people have just been taught to be selfish and narcissistic, and they don't look at the other person as part of myself and what would I want them to do for me. I should do that for them versus give me all the stuff.
It's all about me anyway, right?
Right.
So.
All right. Yeah.
It's
all about us.
That's kind of the way we're programmed in our culture, I think, is for it to just be like that.
It's true.
For it to be about me and what I get.
Right.
I don't know. All right, here's our last segment.
All right, fourth quarter.
Oh.
And we're back. Yeah, we up sure enough. Madman of Masculinity on KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City, on the interwebs, everywhere. We have a phenomenal, what I would call a power couple on here this evening, or this afternoon, this morning, whenever you're listening to us. Phenomenal folks, Jeff and Catherine. Again, we, as we go into the fourth quarter here, thank you all so much. Well, before we even get like to the end, because I hate to squeeze it in the end, tell me about your show and how folks can check out your show.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. So our show is called Invisible Condition, and it is on E360 TV. That's the network. So like if you turn on your TV, that's what I think of as the network. So E360, and then our channel is the Achieve TV channel. So that's our channel. And we are on every Tuesday and every Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And it's a 1-hour show. And I'm the host, and I bring on people that are living and yet thriving despite some sort of invisible medical condition. There's so many out there that you can't see. That's the majority probably, is the ones that people are walking down the street and you have no idea what they're going through unless they tell you. So, and then organizations from around the country and around the world that are helping all those folks live better lives. So we've been on the air about a year and a half,
and so E360 TV is available on Fire Stick. It's on Roku, Apple TV, all of the big ones.
If your TV is smart enough, it can find it on its own, if you have a smart TV and you don't have to use a Roku or Fire Stick. But yeah, you can. It's kind of like an app you can download to your TV. So
Kirk and I will be eligible to come on the show because our condition is invisible. They can't see our condition.
Yeah.
What's your condition?
Maybe should we talk about that now, or should we talk about it later? I don't know.
Oh, fair.
So,
there's something going on up here for both of us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. So,
and the TV show actually led to our most recent thing, which might be able to see if you can read it back there behind me. Invisible Condition University, which is a place that honestly I kind of wish I would have had 10 years ago. So it's for people like us, maybe like some of you out there that have been living with a condition, but you don't have the answers that you need, or you're just clamoring for a community that listens or cares, that would walk with you through your condition and not just blow it off. It's an online community that we have that meets a couple days a month on Zoom, and it's just a super open forum. What are you going through? What can we do to help? Because those 10 years of going through all that crap that we had to go through, not to mention the last year and a half with the show, meeting all these amazing guests and people that are doing so many cool things. We've just got so much knowledge to share, and we don't think you should have to reinvent the wheel. So come join us. If you go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com, you'll get the first month for free. It's cheap anyway, but you get the first month for free. Come check us out. You can go to a couple calls that way. And
Jeff and I are both on the calls, so we can.
Yep.
Patient,
caregiver.
If you have a condition, or if you're a caregiver, tune in.
So, yep.
Very nice. Thank you for doing that. I mean, honestly, it's kind of how Kirk and I ended up here. We were trying to save guys some time because we wouldn't beat our head against the wall for 20 years. And it's like, oh, hey, maybe we can save you some time. Because, when you're doing it alone sometimes, or you don't have that group around you who has an idea of what you're going through. I mean, we just did the last month basically on addiction recovery, and the theme was you need to get into a group of people who understand what you're going through, create that community, because just being seen by somebody who understands, and I'm sure in your condition, it's not obvious.
Nope.
I mean, it's just not obvious. You're walking around looking normal-ish,
relatively normal.
Really, yeah, like most of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to have a safe place, and a safe place where where you can be seen, where people can understand or empathize and all those other kind of things, and just support one another. A lot of times folks just need to hear me too, and just hear, yep, I'm going through that too. Because a lot of people going through some stuff think they're, the only one on an island, and they have no idea, it's a well-populated island until you get around some different circles. So thank you for that, man. Invisible Condition University, man. That's pretty cool stuff, man. That's pretty cool stuff. And so now what made you shift from just experiencing your experience individually and collectively to now we want to pivot this to a show and a platform to help other people? What made that shift?
Do you want to share that story?
I mean, we met. We were at a conference, a couple of years ago.
Wait, let's go back though to
go.
So we were.
Catherine, go.
2018. Yeah.
So we were in the neurosurgeon's office for a follow-up after one of Jeff's surgeries, and you've all probably been in a medical office. The walls are a little thin. And so we could hear in the next room over that there was a pretty distraught conversation going on, you know, upset, maybe crying. Couldn't hear the words, but just, you know, could hear the tone. And so, you know, Jeff's reaction, do you want to share?
All I wanted to do was run next door to that next room and give him a hug and talk to him and tell him it was going to be okay and what can we do and what resource. HIPAA doesn't like that though.
Right. He was, because he was thinking, you know,
offices.
maybe this is another couple that's finding out that their child has to have brain surgery, or,
Right.
you know, another brain surgery, or
I just wanted to tell him, look, I'm here. I'm decades in. You're gonna be okay, you know. But it's
yeah. And
can't
so
do that in a doctor's office.
So that really, you know, you know, stirred in us the desire to say, you know, we have, you know, he has done this for 40 some years. And so let's share that with other people. Let's give that hope, that, you know, support and encouragement that even if you get a diagnosis of, you know, brain surgery, you know, it's not the end of the world. You know, there's life after brain surgery.
Nice. It sounds like we sorry, Jeff, I'll let you go in just a sec, but it just sounds like, because I want you to kind of chime in on this as well. We had talked about at the end of the last segment that service is really the mindset you need to have in relationships. And it sounds like, and even in our experience with even the addicts and recovery episodes, once you get into service, once you're doing something out of compassion for somebody else, it changes your mindset in your life in a lot of ways. I'd love to hear you guys talk about how that has changed for you, because you were just dealing with this and you got this like spark from God, like, I want to help people. And how has that service impacted you as much as everybody else?
Well, first, I mean, the thing that sums it up with the addiction recovery stuff, with anything, with anybody with a condition, life doesn't have to be perfect to be awesome. I mean, so waiting for all the ducks to line up. I mean, they're going everywhere. You're never going to get them. It's not going to happen. So life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. So I don't know. That's been something I've hung on to for a while. I mean, what was the other question? The tools? Service. So my dad is my example of service. He in fact, in the hospital one time, he goes, we you know, for 3 weeks I had to be in there. That's a long time. 3 weeks is a long time. And I was getting a little cranky. And he came in and saw that I was getting a little cranky. And I've always been in the habit of like writing people's names down that help me, like, you know, because they always wear the name badges with their picture. And so I always just kind of jot them down. And I'm like, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this. You know, I'll write it down. Maybe I'll send a thank you card or whatever after I get done. But I was getting cranky, and he could tell. And he's like, look, Jeff, these people are here because they're here to help you. So suck it up. And don't be that guy, you know, be gracious, be grateful, because they are here helping you so that you don't have to be here longer than you absolutely need to be. And so there was more to the conversation than that, but that was basically the kick in the head that I needed. And so all those names, by the end of that hospital visit, I probably had 200 I mean, it was 3 weeks, man. I probably had 200 names written down. And because of what my dad said, I wrote every one of them on that whiteboard that they used to write, you know, that they put this stuff on there, the nurses' names and stuff. So I wrote every single one of their names on there with a big giant thank you, and then just walked out of the room when I left, and didn't draw any attention to it or anything. I was like, if people see it, great. If not, fine. But that was more for me. That was more for me and my dad in the back of my head, you know, kind of like, dude, you gotta do better. So from then it's kind of been, it's been better.
So
with the gratitude.
I think part of what he's saying there is that, you know, gratitude really can fuel, you know, that heart for service and that heart to serve other people and care for them. So it really comes from a place of gratitude for, you know, for all you've been given, all you've, you know, ways other people have served you, you know, and then to be able to share that out, I think is huge.
Which is where I feel like all of this has come from. You know, the TV show was, you know, it was a cool idea, but it's kind of morphed into something bigger, you know, and then the community is, I mean, that's what it's about. is serving others and making sure that they don't have to reinvent the wheel like we did. I mean, we had to scratch and claw and spend money we didn't have and figure out stuff, and some stuff worked and some stuff didn't. So we want to do that for others so that they don't have to go through it.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I mean, so much of the world today is about divide and conquer, and in every single way, whether it's men and women, whether it's political parties, ageism, whatever. We're trying to be separate. They're trying to separate us in every way, and so to take what you've gone through to create a community of connection and of service, I think that's going to be the thing that heals the world in the future.
And your partnership is an example of multiplication. Your partnership is an example that, if one can take on 1,000 and two could take on 10,000, we're better together than we are apart. And that is an example to the world, I think, through your vulnerability, even here today, through your vulnerability, through your perspective, through your faith, through your perspective, your experience, all these kinds of things. The world is a better place because it'll sound weird. Sounds weird as I think it, but the world is a better place because of your hydrocephalus. Did I pronounce it right?
You were so close.
Oh, so I went to public school, man. My bad. I went to public school, man. I was in public school with 7th grade band. And I was a saxophone player, so forgive me, man.
I mean, I didn't say anything about the player. Yeah. I was just talking about the instrument.
But yeah, man, the world is a better place because of your condition, man, because of your journey and your challenges, man. And so,
I would even say it's a better place because you're sharing your experience of your journey and stuff. And I mean, so many people try to white knuckle it and go it alone, especially guys. And once you start to share, and Kirk and I and everybody else we have on the show, and these two right here are a perfect example of share your experience, share your pain, share your struggles, so that the rest of the world knows that they're not alone.
Yes.
Yeah. And then folks got to check out Invisible Condition University. Check out their show. I mean, what is it? Free gift from Jeff.com?
My free gift from Jeff.com. Yep. And our next call is October 15th. So tomorrow.
And if you just listen to this, Jeff is spelled Jeff.
Yes.
Not that other weird way.
So
yeah, folks got to check out these two. They're phenomenal folks. And Jason just put your website in our comments and all those kind of good things.
It's myfreegiftfromjeff.com, right?
Myfreegiftfromjeff.com.
So he just messed up your website.
I messed it up.
I told you he went to military public schools, so it's even worse.
I got more excuses.
Yeah, thank you all. We appreciate you. We value your friendship, and again, thank you for your life's example. We need people like you in the world, and I want to encourage folks, again, reach out, connect with you. Obviously, connect with us, like, subscribe, all of us, and we will be in touch. And so with that, until next time, the Madmen are out.